Rev up your engines! A BMW M3. The guy bought it for 24 grand. You could probably sell it for more than that now. He wants to turn it into a race car because he's a serious driver. This isn't your normal, everyday car. It's set up for racing. Made in 10/03. See, it's got real seat belts in it too for racing. A 5-point series racing seat here. Not made for passengers unless you have kids who like climbing in monkey bars and are extremely small. What's at the heart of this car? Well, of course, it's an inline 6-cylinder BMW engine. Pretty much stock. He got rid of the cat warmer up and anti-pollution stuff because he's turned it into a race car. Having a rainy day today, but it still passes emissions, even though you don't need them here in Tennessee. Yeah, that's a good thing. You don't have to deal with all that stuff. Now, this thing is rated at 330 horsepower and, look, no turbocharger. It's a naturally aspirated car. Still has the air conditioner though. Now, they are fun toys. You can see this is a race car. It's not an everyday driver. I'll be driving around, you know. Not too much room for anyone else. Kind of a solo job, but he wants to see what's going on. We're going to put our computer on it, see what kind of shape this thing is. After all the serious driving this thing's probably taken. He bought it used. So, out we go here. Although it hugs you. You want a racing seat, baby's going to hug you in place. And you can see, you know, it's a race car. It's got a serious stereo system, basic dash, and a massive 6-speed transmission. Now, the M3s are one of the few vehicles BMW has that still offer a manual transmission. It is a serious driver's car. So let's see what kind of info we can get on this thing here. Putting the diagnostics now. Knows the VIN number, okay. It knows it's an M3 S54 US version. Made in 10/2003. Now this is a WVIN meaning, of course, it was made in Deutschland, so it was made by serious Germans to be a serious driving car. A few codes here, but it's only 15% done. We'll let it do its whole job. Well, it's getting there. 65% done. Now, while we're waiting, I expect to see a lot of squirrely codes on a BMW that's as old as this thing is. They're going to have all kinds of wacky codes. He wants to know running codes. He didn't care about the wacky codes. You can see all kinds of mobilizer weird codes. We'll start with number 1. The engine motor electronics, which is what you more or less care about. The codes are digital motor electronics, inlet valves, variable camshaft timing, adaptation. Got a problem with the adaptation. It runs like a skull today, but we'll look at the rest of the stuff and we'll look at the live data too. But since it said it had a problem, you might as well try to mess around with it. We'll clear the adaptation values. Now the ABS stability control's got a bunch of faults. See what those things are. It says the steering angle's implausible. The run flat indicator has a problem. Internal problem with the steering wheel angle sensor. Then I like brake system's getting a little squirrely with a bunch of codes. He did say he's having a problem with his light, so with the light switching center has 3 faults. So we'll check that out. He wants to know about that. We'll read the codes. It says that the left front turn lamp is faulty. A code for that. Also says the right front turn lamp is faulty. And it says that the left dipped beam is faulty. Now, he did have a corrosion issue that he cleaned off and put in, but you know, these cars are kind of squirrely. So what we're going to do is reset it and erase the codes and see if they come back. Here we go, erase codes. We'll erase all those stupid light codes. So let's look at some more codes. Okay, we got central body electrics. There's 10 codes there. Let's see what those are. There'll be 10 of them on this one, which is no shotgun to BMW. General module. Signal STWA. Only relevant if an anti-theft alarm is fitted. Now, he had all that stuff removed by a pro, and they depinned them from the connectors. But the computer's probably still looking for them. But they don't exist, so it's going to think something's weird. Anti-theft, alarm memory, driver, door contact. All this stuff's been taken off, so we really don't care about that at all. Go back and we'll check some more out. Instrument cluster, immobilizer. That's taken off. You already know that's got a problem. Rain light sensor. We don't care about that. The last thing we'll really check will be the central body electronics. See what squirrely things it's going to read on that. Again, it's got anti-theft stuff on it, so we don't care about that either. We'll get into the running of the vehicle and see how that's going. So we'll start her up. And we got a lot of data. Oh, look at misfires. There aren't any misfires, working fine. You can do a lot of active testing, fuel pump, actuators, fuel injectors, electric pump, ignition coils, and even the Vanos timing. Oh, this thing has been throttled around. It's got 107,996,000 miles on it, but it still runs like a skull today. You can look at the electronic throttle adaptation. That's how the Germans do it. You can even see the millisecond clocking of the electric fuel pump. So Germans, they like lots of information when they're driving the cars. You can look at live oxygen sensor data, even graph it. Upstream versus downstream, that's all fine. This is the Mark 1 serious drift car. Big inline 6 in the front, 6-speed, standard, rear wheel drive. Let me tell you, this thing is a hoot to drive. He has a short shifter on, look at this. That's the shift, that tiny little motion is the shifter on this thing. I'm not gonna go bananas because it's pouring rain. And of course, it rides like a tub because it's a race car. This is not for the faint of heart. And truth be told, he had a guy put some suspension parts, but he said, the guy really didn't know what, he's just bolting crap on. He's going to get a tuned suspension put on it, which it really needs. Yes, the AC works. It's unfogged the windows. AC in a race car, there's a novel experience. There we go, man. Woo, this thing flies. Woo, away we go. Now, this is the ultimate driving machine, I gotta say that. Listen to that baby honk. Holds the road even though the shocks are kind of funky. And it's pouring rain. Now I know why people like driving these M3s. Hey, this is a driver's car. Now this is just a naturally aspirated 6-cylinder inline engine, but I'll tell you, this thing blows away my grandson's V8 BMW that he got dirt cheap. And this doesn't burn any oil like his does. Put the brake on, shut her down. Not for the faint of heart, but serious drivers love this car. So I'm in a storm and I'm hiding from the rain, but let me tell you, that baby creates storms itself when you're driving it. And everybody knows I'm not a BMW fan. Well, I take one of these in a heartbeat if I wanted a toy for driving around it. And that's why people are nuts about these M3s. You get one that's in the shape of this one, he's never gonna lose his money on the deal. It's a fun car for driving around, and man, with 100,000 miles, it's not even broken in yet. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Well, the Aussies at the University of Adelaide say they can now make green hydrogen from seawater using the salt water and not having to desalinate it. Now, this is a gigantic deal because as it stands now, when they want to get hydrogen and oxygen out of H2O, which is all it is with all the impurities and salt in the ocean, there's all those trace minerals, right? They had to turn the salt water into fresh water, which is a tremendous usage of energy, so it's highly inefficient. The Australians at the University of Adelaide have figured out how to use special catalysts so they can directly turn the salt water into hydrogen and oxygen. They could find how they could use a non-precious and cheap catalyst to turn salt water into hydrogen, which you could use for fuel, and oxygen, which you can use for all kinds of industrial purposes, right? All this stuff's valuable. And they're using a non-precious catalyst, so they're not using platinum and all that stuff, iridium. They're not using stuff that costs a fortune. Interesting technology. Now, they admit it's a long way before it's commercialized. This is at a university. They have small-scale experiments. They have to see if they can ramp it up to commercial processes to be able to do that. But if you ask me, this is the only thing that's going to save us, right? The only thing that's going to save us is technology. It's not going to be, oh, we're all going to jump in electric cars as it stands today. No, you got to generate the electricity. You got to create the lithium batteries using precious metals, la, la, la. We need better technology and stuff like this. It's going to take a while. That's why I say, don't rush out and buy yourself a battery or electric car. If they get this and hydrogen is good, they're not going to have battery electric cars. They're going to have hydrogen fuel cell cars, and you'll be stuck with the technology that nobody wants anymore. Like beta versus VHS tapes. You don't see, well, you don't even see any of them anymore, but for a long time there were tons of VHS tapes and beta lost out. Even though beta was a more efficient system, the way it was set up, the infrastructure, VHS made it out and made all the money. Now they're past. Now we're even past DVDs. It's all streaming now, so that's all gone too. But technology moves slowly when it comes to big things like infrastructure for traveling around your area, around the world. Don't bet the bank on buying an electric battery car and thinking, oh yeah, this is the future. It may not be the future. If these guys do make green hydrogen, it's going to be hydrogen fuel cell cars, or it's going to be ammonia cars. They can do this stuff and make ammonia too. That would be a fuel cell too. The ammonia ones are also fuel cell cars. So don't bank it on something that just happens to be out now, battery electric cars. I'll tell you, be a big mistake. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.